As we kick off 2025, we have much to celebrate. Most notably, New York State cannabis has hit a historic milestone. We have surpassed $1 billion in retail cannabis sales. This is a testament to the strength of our market, the dedication of our licensees, and our commitment to equity and inclusion in this growing industry. Looking ahead, this year promises to be even more impactful. From expanding opportunities for equity applicants to strengthening enforcement and fostering market diversity and growth, the Office of Cannabis Management is ready to build on our success and continue shaping a thriving cannabis industry for all New Yorkers. For our first order of business, we'll have the review and approval of the meeting minutes from our December 10th, 2024 Cannabis Control Board meeting. May I please have a motion to consider and approve the December 10th board meeting minutes? So we have a motion. May I get a second?
Second.
Properly moved in second. Is there any discussion from any board members regarding this motion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. The motion to approve the December 10th, 2024 board meeting minutes carries. Now I'd like to welcome and to invite our Acting Executive Director, Felicia Reed, to please address this body.
Thank you, Chair Ray. Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board, the OCM team, and my fellow New Yorkers. Happy New Year to you all, and I have to say what a good year it's going to be. The last 6 weeks have been busy for the office, and I want to thank all the folks in OCM who have kept going full throttle through the hectic holiday time. Rather than the office's usual lengthy CCB report, I'm going to direct you all to the good stuff we've recently published. Head over to OCM's homepage to take a spin through our 3 recently issued agency reports. The Chief Equity Officer Report, the Enforcement Report, and the Annual OCM Report are all available through links mid-page and through the report link at the bottom. I especially want to congratulate the cannabis businesses across the state who have, despite so many challenges, obstacles, and shakeups, rapidly catapulted our young adult use industry past the 1 billion mark. Although this number is a feat, I want to underscore its nuance. Unlike other states, New York has achieved this while prioritizing small local businesses and social and economic equity, meaning that economic power is driven by the diversity of many hands, not just the few usual suspects. I'm also glad to see that New York's medical cannabis program has had a strong year. Patient access and patient care are OCM's focus, and it's this focus that will order our future steps as we look to support practitioners and patients across the state. As for 2025, OCM certainly has plans. In the year to come, you can expect OCM to move on several initiatives. 1, building out our customer service team so that the public's experience of engaging with the agency feels useful, responsive, and transparent. We will continue to hire up overall, especially in licensing, compliance, enforcement, and legal. The agency will be welcoming a new and incredible general counsel and a new lead over the 2-sided coin of licensing and compliance. I'm currently interviewing for OCM's next chief equity officer, and I will shortly announce a new special operations unit to pursue trade practice investigations. We'll also be looking more deeply at the hemp side of our house. There are some exciting developments happening in the use of hemp as a sustainable resource, and OCM will be addressing the production and use of hemp and intoxicating products. I'm also looking forward to continuing the process to refine our PLMA and PCA regulations, as well as structuring out on-site consumption and event regulations. Environmental sustainability in this industry certainly keeps me up at night, from packaging and the impact of climate change to energy use and emissions. The growth of the industry cannot be at the expense of minding our place in the ecosystem, the literal ecosystem, and I know we can move forward with both in mind. Having been out in the field to visit our cultivators, processors, and retailers, the agency has had its mind on workforce development and on-site worker health and safety. Industries are nothing without people, and we'll be continuing partnerships to keep the workforce growing and resilient. And finally, for our cultivators, I am glad that in New York, cannabis will now be considered a crop for agricultural purposes, lowering some of the costs of production as well as opening other opportunities. Today's agenda, you'll see, is a light one. Given how much work went into pulling through the end of the year, OCM was preparing for a full and fierce agenda come February, but we're going to get through what's ready now so that businesses can keep moving forward. Before concluding, I do want to mention the proverbial elephant in the room. That is the injunction currently in place. I know this has many folks shook about the implications for the agency, especially relative to CARD. The court is still refining the scope of the order, but after attending a hearing earlier this week, I am glad that it appears that the scope of the injunction is far, far narrower than initially presumed. OCM will be sure to update the cannabis community in the next week or so with the development. As ever, I'm looking forward to what's next.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Now I'd like to move us forward on to our first resolution and the only resolution before us today. May I please have a motion to consider resolution number 2025-01, consideration of adult use cannabis licenses.
So moved.
I have a motion. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. I'll please ask Mr. McKee to provide an overview of this resolution. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before the board today is a cohort of 31 adult use cannabis licenses, which have cleared the multi-step review process and are being recommended for approval by the board. These applications are from the application window that opened on October 4th and closed for all types of applications on December 18th, 2023. The 31 applications include 4 retail dispensaries, 5 micro businesses, 2 cultivators, 10 distributors, and 10 processors. As partly explained by Executive Director Felicia, the lower application count for this board meeting is partly due to the injunction and also coming off of the holiday season. The office anticipates being able to get back to a more normal level of applications being recommended to the board at our next month board meeting. As always, I want to thank the licensing staff for the hard work and diligence to make this possible and get through these applications as quickly as possible. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Pat. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I just have a quick question. We've been getting more and more emails. I'm assuming that the rest of the board has as well. That are people concerned about individuals that we're giving licenses to that have been active in the illicit market, and I'm just curious if a individual has not been arrested, so is not in the system for being in the illicit market, but is known to have a store that hasn't been closed, right? What can we do, and how does our review of their applications address bringing to light some of these issues? Because I'm just concerned with how many of these emails I've been getting of people being concerned that we're giving licenses to people who shouldn't get them.
Thank you, Board Member Gilbert Jenkins. That's a great question, and definitely something that is looked into during the background check process of the review of our adult use applications. You are correct that the information that is able to be obtained does come in all shapes and sizes. You know, sometimes there are complaints that are very robust, and our teams are able to go out on site and observe the illicit activity. And those are the locations that typically get in line for the inspections and ultimately padlocking if illicit activity is observed. But then some of the complaints that come in through our tracker online, which I encourage anyone who observes any illicit activity to go in and insert those complaints via the incident report. Sometimes, you know, there's varying levels of information. And so a lot of the applications that typically take a little bit longer to review and go through that process, a subset of that end up falling into that bucket of requiring kind of that additional analysis to go and check and see if the activity that is being conducted does warrant the level of denying the application. And so I know our enforcement team and our licensing team, which is doing these background checks, is very much on their radar. And I also encourage, you know, any reports you hear, please forward them to the office, and we can look into those specific instances to see if they, you know, are conducting illicit activity, and further action needs to be taken there.
Yeah, great. And I think that it's also helpful for people to realize that contacting a board member is important, but also reporting on the website is really important too, because we can't have eyes everywhere all at once.
Great point.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
Madam Chair.
Hearing none. Yes.
Apologize for the delay. So, Board Member Gilbert Jenkins, while I have received a couple of emails regarding that, the totality or most of the emails that I receive are more about the process of review for applications and how processor and cultivator applications that are in a queue and how later applications may get approved before them. I realize that you probably are getting these questions too, and the staff is getting these questions, but for people who are on, could you explain a little bit about the order that applications are reviewed and how their deficiencies are communicated with the applicants and within what time frame, and are they told about the time frame they have within which they're supposed to respond?
Thank you, Crystal. Great question. And so all of our deficiencies that are coming officially from the office go through the New York Business Express system or the cannabis licensing system. And so it'll be an official communication that lists out the deficiencies that are currently missing on the application. And at the bottom of that email, it should specify the essentially due date that the correction is due to be responded to. And it's very important that applicants are adhering to that due date. Our regulations allow an application to become void if an applicant has not responded to a correction within that 30-day due date. And so really important to stay on that. And in terms of order of review, the Q orders determine the order of review. However, caveating that applications are sometimes like snowflakes. So they're all unique and have different aspects to them. So if a certain higher up queue application has started the review and is in process, however, there's some factors that are requiring additional information or more back and forth, that could cause a applicant that is farther down the queue to move forward before someone who's higher up on the queue, just depending on the particularities of that particular application. So I hope that answers your question.
I have a follow-up question. So if a applicant received an email saying that they had deficiency that needed to be stored and there was no, they needed to be stored, it had to be communicated to the public at large that they have 30 days to cure that deficiency?
Correct. By and large, in most cases, that's the standard, 30 days to cure a deficiency. Correct.
And do we have that somewhere publicly posted? Because we're talking about applicants who might not read the regulations, might not go in depth in terms of this. So how are we getting that information to the applicant that it is well known?
Great question. I do believe it's in our FAQs, but it's also on that deficiency email that every applicant receives for a correction. It should be clearly marked what your due date is to respond.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? Comments? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Dr. Gilbert Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Knight? Aye. Ms. Garcia?
Aye.
Ms. Rodriguez Dabney?
Aye.
And I vote in the affirmative as well. The motion to approve resolution number 2025-01, consideration of adult use cannabis licenses carries. Next, I'd like to ask our ED, Felicia Reed, for a brief update from the Office of Cannabis Management, please.
We're actually going to pull that item because I gave the whole outlay and we have all the reports on the website. So we're good for now.
All right. So thank you very much. That's going to help us tremendously because we have at least, 40 people. So for our next order of business, we're going to be providing the public an opportunity to address the board. So remember, we don't answer any questions. You are given 2 minutes. We ask you to come forward, share your thoughts, be respectful of others, and to maintain the 2-minute limit. If you have submitted your comments electronically, those will be captured and they will be included in today's meeting minutes and posted on our website. So with that, let's please begin. The first person we're going to hear from, and I believe we're going to be using this microphone. And I ask that after I call your name, just please come up so that we have 2 people standing in queue so that we can keep it moving. Robert Antonacia, and Paul Belgian, it looks almost like, and then Chris Etz. So we have Robert, Paul, then Chris. Are they here?
Yes, I'm here, but I didn't request public.
Okay. What about Chris? Yeah, there you go. No. Christian Rivas, Hugo Rivas, then Robert Griffith. Are you all here to speak?
Behind you.
Okay, please come to the mic. So we have Christian, then Hugo, then Robert.
Good afternoon to the OCM. Good afternoon. Thank you to the OCM members for all your work and your time today. I'm Christian Rivas from Toke Folks, Inc. Application number OCM PROC -2023-00436. And I'm requesting a review of the denial of our adult use processor Tier 3 license. I received a deficiency notice on July 11th outlining 3 issues: missing labor peace agreement, fingerprints, and TPI. We resolved the LPA and fingerprints right away. The TPI had already been completed under another application, so I requested its transfer or removal to my current application. I provided the necessary documentation and asked for guidance on how to proceed, but after my last communication on August 8th and 9th, I received no response and later a denial. I've since hired attorney Jeffrey Hoffman, who has sent proof of all of our communication and completion of all requirements. Despite this, the denial incorrectly states the LPA, fingerprints, and TPI were not submitted. We have clear evidence to the contrary. The situation is causing significant financial strain and putting my business at risk. I'm asking for your help to resolve the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Hugo, followed by Robert Griffiths, then Angela LaRoche.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you, OCM, for all your help and all your hard work. I'm here today representing the Long Island Cannabis Coalition. We just want to address a few issues. At Long Island, again, we're having a lot of issues with the municipalities. They're giving us a lot of restrictions and such in order for us to open. We have only 4 opted in. So we're here today just to kind of ask, just give us some help out there. We've been putting in a lot of work and we would appreciate that. The second one is the 1,000-foot rule situation that's going on now. It's hurting some of us, some of our licensees, some of our members in our coalition. That decision is kind of hurting them. We feel like 1,000 feet is more than enough for other business to be a part. Anything less than that has been, and it has been shown even in other states that it affects other businesses, and it's actually happening now. So we would appreciate if that, if that situation doesn't occur, because it's really, really hurting the dispensaries out there. So please listen to the dispensaries, listen to the owners, because they're going through it. Not everybody's in full profit, and they're going through it. So please listen to that. Again, Long Island, we're putting a lot of work out there. We're just asking for the help and the support. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robert Griffiths, Angela LaRoche, and Vanessa Yi-Chan.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Griffiths. I'm a bud tender, currently at an organization that holds one of the 25 nonprofit licenses. So I'm really proud to work at an establishment that does that. It's 51% of their proceeds. But I'm here to
ask you to speak into the mic because it's taped.
Understood. To get to my point, I'm here to talk about Columbia Care. I worked there for 3.5 years. They're doing business as the Cannabis. They're one of the 10 registered organizations. In August, they admitted to the wrongful firing of Radha Chatterjee. She was offered her job back, but she declined the offer. Immediately on August 1st, 2023, all references to Radha Chatterjee's discharge disciplines, final warning, everything was removed from their record. This was signed by Katie Henrik and was provided to me by the NLRB. I also have an affidavit, 2 affidavits. The first one is attached to the first one, and the second affidavit is still in progress. And then very quickly, I just must say, for a long time, Columbia Care had general manager and head pharmacist Douglas Chip Walker with the assistance of General Katie Shadowins. They kept Brooklyn and Manhattan locations, very toxic environments. Chip would often tell me he would have to do things he didn't want to do and that his actions weren't personal. I informed the head of HR, Kelly Cramp Collins. When she showed up unexpectedly, we had anti-labor visits from Sharice Ward and Jeff Rowe. At one point, I told Chip Walker he was breaking the law in front of 4 other employees. He simply shrugged his shoulders and continued on about how we betrayed his trust by unionizing. We were the only one of 10 registered organizations that hadn't been unionized by Local 338. When he fired Radha Chatterjee, returning back from paternity leave, he immediately told us in a small captivated meeting in the break room, she's gone. So it was an obvious chilling effect. At one point, he argued with me about what the union, just want to say that we never got a raise, ongoing investigations, $600 million in revenue.
Thank you.
Yes, you can. Thank you. I'll include it. Angelo LaRoche, Vanessa Yuchan, Cheryl Murray Powell.
Hello, board and cannabis community. My name is Angelo LaRoche, and I am a CEO and founder of Green Club Inc., application OCM MICR 230000624, a micro business license from the November queue that was officially licensed as a provisional 2 months ago. We were provisionally licensed because of a card applicant that popped up on the map after we submitted our application. We then submitted our location change via the location amendment survey. This was almost 2 months ago, and we haven't heard back from the OCM. We are working on our welcome packet, but it means nothing without confirmation of the address change. I've sent the OCM dozens of emails and calls and have not heard a single response. It's a vacuum with no end. My new landlord has been amazing and not predatory like my first one, but he's officially fed up of hearing, I don't know. At this point, I'm afraid I can't afford to lose hundreds of thousands with no end in sight. We just need one person to accept my location change, which already meets all of the criteria and has been approved by the board, the community board, so that I can proceed. If not, my entire deck of cards will crumble and I'll be paying for this debt for the rest of my life. As an African-American who grew up in Canarsie, Brooklyn with no parents, I stayed focused, got out of the hood, graduated college, and even received my master's from Cornell University. Every dollar I've ever gotten has gone towards this endeavor. I want to do this for my people and be an example of the community and for New York City. I just need your help. As time has gone on, I've learned how to be patient and understanding as I see you guys are trying your very best. But I am at the mercy of losing this location and all of this would have been in vain. Please help. Just one person. Thank you, Tremaine, and the rest of the board. I pray this too shall pass. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Vanessa Yuchan, Cheryl Murray Powell, then Jeffrey Hoffman.
Hello. Hello again. I'm Vanessa Yuchan, owner of Alta Dispensary. I'm here to make my statement again, urging you not to grant the potential PCA waiver for Curaleaf and ROD at 210 Lafayette Street. To remind you again, the proposed location is within 1,000 feet of 2 existing dispensaries, mine as well as close to a card licensee. Curaleaf's proposed location is within a short walking distance of 3 C and card licenses that have had their doors open for less than a year. As highlighted in last month's OCM market analysis, while the number of dispensary locations is increasing, revenue per location has been declining. This trend will likely worsen with the granting of PCA waivers, especially when large chain retailers move into neighborhoods dominated by small businesses, small independent dispensaries. If we were completely sold out of all of our products, I could understand the need for additional locations, but we're nowhere near that point. The demand for cannabis in our area isn't sufficient to support another dispensary, particularly one that bypasses the 1,000-foot rule and has the financial resources to outspend and outcompete the rest of us. The emerging cannabis market is unique in that nearly everyone is entering the industry at the same time, offering similar products sourced from the same brands and distributors. This creates a limited number of ways to stand out, such as store design or undercutting competitors' prices for identical products. However, price wars like this often lead to race to the bottom, which can ultimately harm the market. Curaleaf has a significant advantage due to its vertical integration, enabling them to offer lower prices that could undercut competitors, potentially destabilizing the market before the independent dispensaries have a chance to establish themselves and grow. This is a challenge that other industries don't face. Liquor stores, for example, don't open all at once in the same area. The market becomes diluted gradually, allowing for healthier competition and more sustainable growth. Legally licensed dispensaries like mine are already struggling to compete against illegal and licensed shops selling cannabis, two of which are still operating on either side of my shop. I and other local dispensary owners are protesting Curaleaf's application for 210 Lafayette with Community Board 2 as well. We have secured the support of Assemblymember Grace Lee. Thank you very much.
Cheryl Murray Powell, followed by Jeff Hoffman, then Sean Robinson.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Cheryl Murray Powell, Esquire. I'm a cannabis agricultural dietary supplement trade psychedelics and regulatory attorney. I'm also Rastafari. I'm the International First Vice President of the Ethiopian World Federation and the proud president of the Ethiopian World Federation Local 12 Charter. Some of our members are here, members of the Rastafari community, as well as members of the EWF. First of all, I want to recognize the efforts of the OCM to clarify with the court the scope of the injunction. This allowed a lot of people who may not have gotten any type of review to be reviewed by the Office of Cannabis Management. So I want to make sure that is recognized here today, that people are now getting their applications reviewed as a result of that request for further clarification. In addition to that, I am one of the attorneys representing a witness or designated participant in the DEA hearings for the rescheduling of cannabis taking place at DEA headquarters. As a child of a Jamaican immigrant, as a born and raised New Yorker, it gives me a lot of pride to represent Veterans Initiative 22, which is led by a Black woman veteran who is a great mom, served her country. So I want to encourage you all to watch and support as she gives her testimony. This is a very historic moment and something that we should all be a part of. With regards to, proximity protection and distance requirements, I want to make sure that we're clear that sometimes discretion is needed. There are individuals who have been harmed, especially in urban areas, by distance requirements. Some people who deserve licenses haven't gotten their licenses yet, and it gets increasingly difficult for them to find properties. So I just wanted to make sure that was stated, and thank you so much.
Jeffrey Hoffman, Sean Robinson, Evelyn Zapata.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Hoffman. I'm an attorney here in New York City. I'd like to thank the board and the office on behalf of my clients to whom you've given licenses today. I think at some of the previous board meetings, you've heard me discuss the proximity protection issues and the issues that we're seeing with some licenses that are perhaps improperly voided. You've heard some more about that today, so I won't continue to go into that at this time. I should note, we've talked before about some very important legislation related to medical cannabis that may be coming up in this legislative session. One, a CME bill that would require all medical professionals to take continuing medical education about the endocannabinoid system. Another that would require the state-funded health insurance entities to cover medical cannabis. We believe that these are critical bills that we need to turn into law here in the state of New York. We're going to be having a lobby day in Albany on March 11th. Related to those bills. So I would encourage anyone in the state of New York that has any care about the medical cannabis situation here in the state to come to Albany with us on March 11th to have a press conference on the $1 Million Staircase and to also meet with your elected representatives so that we can get those bills turned into law. I believe it's critical that we do that. Additionally, I do like to mention each time that I work with the Cannabis Justice and Equity Initiative. We are very active in getting workforce development, specifically getting returning citizens jobs in the cannabis industry. We think that is critical to what is going on here. That is equity defined, we believe. The last comment that I would like to make is that we're going to go get some dim sum on 56th Street here after the meeting. And if you'd like to join me and some of the other folks that are going to do that, by all means, come and join us. We'll, of course, be smoking out as well. So you're welcome to join us for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sean Robinson, Evelyn Zapata, followed by Beck Hickey.
Hello, my name is Sean Robinson. I'm the founder of Rockaway Moonshot LLC, license number 24-000151. I'm also the owner and operator of Farm NYC and All Good in the Woods Farm. I have been a legacy micro business operator for nearly 10 years, cultivating over 1,000 pounds of cannabis, formulating and creating over 30 unique SKUs across both CBD and THC products. I want to start with this. We are grateful for your efforts and appreciate your work. Given all the circumstances, I would also like to personally thank Chris P. at OCM Compliance for attempting to get answers for us that we are outside of his department. We are trying to move locations due to landlord issues. Our business, Rockaway Moonshot, applied during the November queue with the queue number of 718. During the August 6, 2024 CC board meeting, we were awarded our final retail license, a part of resolution number 224-86. At that time, we paid our $7,500 licensing fee. Only licensed entities are able to complete the amendment survey, which we completed on December 2nd and was used to request the change of location, further signifying our fully licensed status. The clarification of Judge Graff on the preliminary injunction specifically states the preliminary injunction does not enjoin respondents of any of the following acts: processing any amendment requests, location approval requests, or any other processing already licensed entities, regardless of card, provisional, non-provisional status, whose licenses were approved prior to the court's issuance of preliminary injunction. We specifically fall into the category of licenses that were approved prior to the court's issuance of preliminary injunction, August 24th versus December 24th. And this request is specifically and
Would you like to submit your written? Thank you. Evelyn Zapata, Beck Hickey, Alan Cordero.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Please speak into the mic, though.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Evelyn Zapata, CEO of the New York Cannabis Times. I am a December Q applicant 500-1021-4146. I started selling weed in 1989, only weed. And for something temporary, lasted 30 years. I have been tied up. I have been slammed against gates. I have guns put on my head by an NYPD 3-4 precinct. I am the epitome of CARD. I am the epitome of C. I am the epitome of every social equity program throughout the 50 United States. There is no reason why I should be slapped in the face by OCM, issuing licenses to cocaine dealers, gun charges, fraud charges, crack dealers, heroin dealers, and leaving the weed dealer of 30 years on the St. Nick and 184 still waiting for her license. I have stopped selling weed. I have stopped feeding myself with a side job of selling weed, vapes, and any other illegal thing I can think of because I put in an application. My dad died waiting for me to apply to the micro business license. My aunt died. My best friend died the night before the first dispensary opened in New York State, ready, groomed, just to tell his story on how he quit sniffing dope with weed because of myself. Now, my mom died, a slow and painful death, which only gave her some type of comfort through our SO, so she could leave peacefully. I'm still waiting. And now I have a group of CARD lobbying against any more licenses in the December queue. If this type of stuff happens in the street, that means you're digging into my pocket. You're digging into my food. Tremaine, the last time I got an eviction, I sold weed. I don't care about the time. I sold weed, and it is also there. But I am 54 years old. I'm not standing in a corner, but I could definitely put a couple in front of dispensaries right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beck Hickey. Beck Hickey, Alan Cordero, and I believe this says Misha Vega. So Beck, Alan, Misha.
Hi, my name is Beck Hickey. I'm a retail applicant and founder of Zen and Mary, which will be a cannabis-friendly hotel with on-site retail in the Hudson Valley. It's going to be beautiful. I have spent the last 3 years working my butt off, learning, listening, reading regs, sending in comments. I've built a solid network here. I have a tight business plan and I'm set up for success. I've hustled to find funding. Do you know how hard it is to convince a white man with money that you can build something that's never been built before? I'm finally getting traction on that. And the last thing they ask me is, where is your license? I'm sitting on the December queue. There has been a lot of talk in these meetings from people that I have championed along the lines about limiting licenses. People are signing letters, paying lobbyists, and putting pressure on you and the governor to do that. They say the December queue will flood the market and destroy the value of existing licenses. The MRTA requires that social equity be prioritized throughout the process. That didn't happen. You repeatedly promised social equity applicants that property would not be required to apply for retail and then changed the rules at the last minute. What that did was prioritize those with the means to hold property for a year or longer. I wanted to apply in November. I was ready, but I didn't have that luxury. I can't risk bankrupting my son's future for a lottery. And although I haven't laid out cash for a year's worth of rent, I have invested my entire life into this. Each round of licenses, you set up a quota and then blew straight through it. You reviewed everyone in the card list. You reviewed everyone in November. And now all those people want to slam the doors behind themselves. The December queue deserves the same consideration everyone else received. With the November queue, you've awarded dozens of licenses to individuals who never had any intention of operating here in New York. They don't know the first thing about New York. They're selling these licenses now for $600,000 each. So yeah, I think we should flood the market and destroy the value of the licenses because I'm more focused on the value of my business.
Thank you. Alan Cordero, followed by Misha Vega, and then. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sorry. Misha Vega. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Pasha Products NY at Gmail. Is that you? Oh, it's not him. Okay. Then we move to Justin DeLuca, Paul Steinbruckner, and Dr. Gregg, who are out in Buffalo, I believe. Is Justin DeLuca present?
To the chair. Sorry, walk to the chair.
See?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, my name is DeLuca from Cannabis magazine. I and many across the state are deeply disappointed. Appropriately small number of licenses granted today, and also that no other applications are moving forward. The state needs to do better. From Western and Upstate New York, we have many PCNA proximity waiver requests that have sat idle for both the 1,000 foot. Many way past the time that they were supposed to be required or approved by the board itself. The board granted waivers in November, but it seems to be ignoring all the others, not having considered any in the December meeting or this board meeting, with very little explanation. It's a serious violation of the regulations and subjects the office to more lawsuits. Please grant these waivers. Anyone with a pending PCNA issue of any kind, please contact Cannabis magazine because I'm doing a story on this and have resources. Justin at cannabis.com. Look for that. As for the most recent and clarified injunction, it appears the office is both reading it too broadly and has dramatically slowed processing of applications that are not covered by the injunction as clarified by the court. Since the court limited and clarified the injunction to allow much broader processing office, we don't understand why recent communications to applicants from the office appear to suggest the office continues to take an erroneously overbroad view of the injunction. There's tons of entrepreneurs out there in the state and basically be given an opportunity to thrive in this market.
Thank you, Justin. And may I ask if you can submit your written testimony because it was a little difficult for us to hear you? And if the next speaker, Paul, can please come to the mic and just make sure to speak more directly into the microphone.
Here's good.
Yes.
Beautiful. I am Paul Steinbruckner, co-owner of S&S Cultivation. We're a cultivation tier 1, indoor cultivation tier 1 applicant from the December 2023 queue. Executed and maintained a lease for over a year now at the requirement of your office to apply. This has caused serious irreparable financial harm. Today, you only awarded a mere 31 licenses, giving the excuse that the low number is due to the injunction and holiday season. Well, our license type was not affected by the injunction, so I don't know why that excuse applies to us. You have, however, demonstrated clear bias against our particular facet of the industry, and I'm going to give you a couple examples right now. One of them is in the organic blooms of the organic blooms case, an affirmation by Patrick McKeage at the end states that as such, the injunction would be financially ruinous for applicants and licensees. And then in the AG's response to the injunction, it states that, however, according to respondents' initial review, there are nearly 150 card and November Q provisional licensees who are presently carrying the burden of maintaining a location. These are just two of many of the instances the office has publicly noted that applicants and licensees are carrying a serious financial burden over holding a lease, and that you guys are concerned about that. However, there's never been a concern extended to the cultivators that are in the same position. This demonstrates a clear bias for your concern of financial burden, and this needs to be acknowledged and fixed immediately. Over a year is too long. You guys need to do better. We deserve better, and you all work for us, constituents of New York State. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Greg Daniel.
Yes.
And he'll be followed by Franklin Crocker.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'd like to thank the board and the Cannabis Commission for all that you're doing here, cannabis in New York State. But what I'd like to say is that you're falling short of the mark. I've been dealing with cannabis licenses since 2015. We submitted an application back then when Governor Cuomo was governor then. We finished second in the raw score. I have obtained medical licenses in the state of Maryland, and I've advised cannabis applicants in multiple states. Here in New York State, the process is convoluted at best. Every time we've reached out to the commission to understand where the application lies, we've gotten a different opinion depending on who we have spoken to. From time to time, we've told there have been deficiencies. We've satisfied these deficiencies. And once we've submitted, by the time the next meeting comes around, we are told again that there is another set of deficiencies. I think there's some inequities in this process, and I'm asking that this be investigated, because I think if this becomes public, the way this is being managed, I think this will create another firestorm in New York State with regards to cannabis. We have a system that can provide cannabis to individuals in low-income communities and associated with medical care in these communities. And we think that it could provide significant upside for New York State with regards to how cannabis is dispensed. And this is being sidelined because of inequities in the process. So I'm asking today that our application be reviewed and some answer be provided to us that is equitable at this time. Thank you very much for your troubles. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And Franklin Crocker.
Madam Chair, he's decided not to speak, so that's all for both of you.
All right, thank you. So we'll go to our next page here in New York City. We have Michael Gonzalez, Barasat Sabat, and Sandra McKee. Is Michael here? Gomez, yes, sorry. Followed by It's sloppy, man. I'm sorry. And then Sandra McKee.
Hello.
Michael. I have 3 pages, so you might be on the next page. Okay, we got.
Michael Gomez, one of the owners of Bacha Products NY, license number 24-000204. I just want to keep it sweet and simple. I just want y'all to consider the December queues. A lot of great growers, a lot of great people are in that. We got our license, you know what I'm saying? We got lucky. But a lot of great people that are going to bring great quality cannabis to the state of New York are in the December queue, and we need y'all to consider that. Thank you.
Sabat, Mr. Sabat? Yes.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Burke. I'm the card licensee that's at the other side of Vanessa's store. So as you know, our proximity protection they're trying to violate it. Cureleaf is trying to violate it. They're a multi-billion-dollar entity. They're a registered organization, and they're probably going to destroy me and Vanessa's business. Now, I don't understand how these proximity protection waivers are being given out, because there's a clear process for how all the regulations come from every single state entity. It gets proposed, there's a public comment period, people comment on it, and then afterwards it gets legislated. Hasn't happened with these PCAs. We don't know how they're being given out. There's no transparency. We don't know why they're being given out, what data and what decisions are being made. I've been a card licensee since like the second round. I've seen the CCB in particular and OCM go through so many lawsuits and just lose every single time because they keep making decisions like this. And this is the exact same thing that's going to happen again. I guarantee you, with the amount of PCAs that are being given out to these multi-billion-dollar companies, you're going to get Article 78, you're going to go to court, there's going to be another injunction, and you're going to lose again. And it just keeps happening time after time after time. So can we please have a process on how this is being considered and put it through the regular channels of how laws are made in the state of New York, instead of you guys just deciding to give out PCAs based on some things that nobody knows about. There's no clear standards or how it happens or why it happens. And I really don't think you need a Cureleaf between me and Vanessa's store. Like, they're a billion-dollar company. What? If it was another small business, that could be like kind of understanding, but that is not a small business. They're just here to wipe us out, and they're not here to provide a service to the community. They're not here to do anything other than make money for the shareholders. So please be considerate of small businesses when you're giving out these PCAs. It's tough as it is right now with the winter time. Just please. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra McKee, followed by Randolph Cross something. I can't read it. I'm sorry. And then Michael White. So Sandra, Randolph, then Michael.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Wright and distinguished members of the Cannabis Control Board. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today. My name is Sandy McKee, and I am the chair of Manhattan Community Board 6, an agency of the City of New York. I'd like to offer comment on an item that is not on your agenda today, but that is of great concern to residents in this area. Flintstone Cannabis Company and the application by Mr. Mike Flynn to operate a retail dispensary at 820 2nd Avenue. In the weeks that Flintstone Cannabis Company's application was under consideration by CB6, dozens of neighborhood residents attended community meetings, called and wrote to us to express their opposition to the application, and submitted petitions. As a result, CB6 issued a negative resolution on December 14th, 2024, objecting to Mr. Flynn's application. Mr. Flynn's company has submitted notifications to municipalities in the city, Brooklyn Community Board 1 and Manhattan Community Board 2, in addition to the one in our district. And every time the applications do not stand up to scrutiny. Most disturbingly, Flintstone Cannabis Company is not contributing to our community by filling a vacant storefront in our district. Instead, Mr. Flynn has prevailed upon the landlord of the space at 820 2nd Avenue to permanently terminate the lease of the current business held by a long-term business owner of color in our community and forcibly evict him to bring the shop to our district. While CB6 supports honest business owners who wish to do business in our district, we do not support efforts to displace longstanding businesses that have contributed to the character of our community. For these and many other reasons outlined in our November 14th resolution, Mr. Flynn's Flintstone Cannabis Company would not make a worthy recipient of a license to operate a cannabis dispensary in our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Randolph, followed by Michael White, then Laurel Burge. Sorry.
Yes, greetings and blessed love to all.
I'd like to commend the Cannabis Board for their efforts. And I see the stress that you all are under, and I pray for your well-being. Because I know the lawsuit against you and all these powerful companies that are lobbying against you, and even against the small owners. I feel it for you all. But I'm here to speak in regards to the Rastafarian community, them that have been left out completely. Even though we are in the queue for the December licensing, I haven't heard anything from the Cannabis Authority. I've not even received any notification, and hopefully that's a good thing. From what I've been hearing about those that have been notified that they are denied or locked out from being a part of the licenses. Now, it's a way of life that I'm referring to. Rastafari is my liberty. It's my way of life. The cannabis that you refer to as being just to get high, it is not that in my being. It's my sacrament. It's a holy herb. It's the healing of the nation. It is one of them. All the herb that yields seeds after its kind, in my faith, is holy. The cannabis is one that is used in ceremonies that we give reverence unto the Most High. And in doing so, we not only uplift ourselves spiritually, but we uplift our community because we walk in that love faculty, which is sharing is caring. Now, I've been told by those that are here to do good, that patience is a virtue. That is what I read in the scripture. Patience is truly a virtue. That I'm to wait patiently, and I am waiting patiently on those that are in power to do what is just and right. For those that have been suffering and still suffer till this day for not being able to live their life. Blessed love.
Michael, followed by Laurel, and then Joan Boyle. So Michael White?
Yes.
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, greetings everyone. Yeah, man, give thanks. Give thanks for the opportunity. What was said, I'm saying the same message. And I just want, this board, you're in the position right now to balance the scale of justice. And that alone, just justice alone will resolve a lot of issues when you look at, the truth, when all things considered. So I'm emphasizing that. And that's my few words, that we acknowledge the fact that the Cannabis Board to acknowledge the fact that we as Rastafarians from 1930, the sacrament of a sacramental right, religious rights to use herb, which was the plant of renown, which in the scripture is not just, but it's the king of all herbs in terms of the healing of the nations, as the brother said. And after prohibition, 1937, became illegal, and then all of a sudden is thunder, lightning, jail, birth head, imprisonment and incarceration, and families suffer, and so on and so forth. So in that said, no, it's legal. So of course, first things first, should be the people who suffer and pay the consequences, and should have the right to, get licensed and have the right for their sacramental rights officially, So I'm just asking for justice, because with justice, we can balance the scale of justice, what we're requesting. For these few words, I give thanks.
Thank you. Laurel Burge. Okay, thank you. Joan Boyle, followed by Ann Seligman, and then Dan Cogan. Joan? Is Joan present? Okay. Thank you.
Yes, hi. I'm a community member of Community Board 6, and I just want to make sure I let you know how intense we feel about this and how much we appreciate our community board for standing up to protect us from what we feel is a predatory business with a name meant to appeal to children in his business. And we object wholeheartedly. I want you to understand how huge the community reaction is on the east side. And east side, where all the storefronts are vacant. A longstanding business that has served the community for decades was pushed out by big bucks. And I hope you realize the nuance that goes on in the communities that the siting activity is looking at. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ann, followed by Dan. And then Erin Thurmond will be next. Ann, then Dan, then Erin.
Hi, I am a member of Manhattan Community Board 6, but I am speaking today as an individual. I want to express my strong opposition to an application, as you just heard, that the board received. Flintstone is not on the agenda here, and that perhaps is because Mike Flynn's notification to municipalities says the business will be located in Nassau County. So in fact, the proposed location is 2nd Avenue and 44th Street in New York County. We are not anti-cannabis, but there were many discrepancies in his application to the community board, including a statement that there was an executed lease when there was not. He is now actually being sued for defamation by the current tenant for making false statements about the tenant's payment history. In addition to CB6, Manhattan Community Board 2 and Brooklyn Community Board 1 have both passed resolutions of objection to this operator, citing similar and additional apprehensions. All have concerns about transparency, community outreach, location suitability, and security. Mike Flynn brags about how many licenses he has, which is clearly against CCB's desire to promote small businesses. He often does those with sort of opaque partnerships. The business being displaced has served the neighborhood for decades and has strong community support, as you have heard. Time is of the essence if we want to save it. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Dan, followed by Erin Thurmond, then David Feeder.
Good afternoon, OCM. Hello, my name is Dan Kogan, license number OCM RETL 2023-00650. I was placed on the November queue number 1855 because I applied for my retail license dispensary on October 22, 2023. And I submitted a lease and had control of the location and notified the community board on September 2nd, 2023, based on the OGS report on May 8th, 2024, which was 8 months ago on page 10. It clearly says that the OCM paused its review on the November queue in March 2024 and moved on to December queue. So on the page 11 on the OGS report, it says that the OCM reports on the review of the first 600 application in the November queue, and then OCM moved on to the December queue, which they should have never done, not telling anyone from the November queue who got the license, like myself, for example, and continue paying rent. So on the OGS report on May 8, 2024, it says that the OCM issued 450 provisional licenses to retail dispensary from December queue and 110 micro business license from the December queue, totaling up to 560 retail dispensary and micro businesses license applications from all the December queue. Today, 8 months later, I don't know the real number of how many applications OCM went over from the December queue. I'm still waiting from the November queue. So please add my submitted location that I have been emailing you guys for my Manhattan location to be given proximity protections on the map.
Thank you. Do you want to submit that as well?
Okay. I have another copy. Can I submit that?
Yes, just in it. Thank you. Aaron Thurman, followed by David Feeder, then David Hooper.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Aaron Thurman. I'm a micro-business applicant in the December queue, application number 2003, MICR 000097. And I code that to show you how early I applied for my application. A long-time legacy operator from New York City. All I've done is sell cannabis. And when I learned about the new laws, I was sitting on Rikers Island for a cannabis charge. I opted not to get back into the cannabis game, coming out to go ahead and apply for my license. And I've done so on my own because I didn't have any help at the time. Thankfully, there's been some people in this room kind enough to bring me along in the process. But I said all I have to say is there's been a lot of hope that's went into this. I've tied up my life into this. I've sacrificed tremendously to do so, knowing I could easily go back to the streets and flood New York City with weed, because I've done so and done so since the 90s. I'm asking the OCM to please consider my application, those similarly situated, because there's a lot of people out there sitting on the sidelines hoping to get in, and they could be doing other things, but they're choosing to go the right way, because we have at least a little bit of faith, hoping that at least if you're going to take the cannabis game from legacy operators and the black man, you got something in return. I've staked a lot into this, and I'm hoping that not only that we consider my application, but consider those similarly situated, because the thing about it is that we should be grandfathered in. If you can prove that your legacy operator should be grandfathered in, why would I have to go through the same process as somebody that was on the sideline and demonize cannabis, and they get to be put in the same pool as me when I shed blood and have my blood shed in New York City streets? So please consider my application to others. Thank you.
David Feeder, David Hooper, then Cos Marte.
Hi, David Fader, founder of Weed Law, cannabis business attorney in New York for over a decade. Nice to see everybody here. You're all probably very excited about what's going to be. And OCM, great job getting out licenses. We're very excited for more. I want to bring out a couple of points. I have a limited amount of time, obviously. One, registered organizations should not get any proximity protection. That's crazy. They shouldn't get it. That's number one. All right, number two is you gave out proximity waivers 3 meetings ago to applicants that you said had submitted requests for proximity waiver prior to that date. It's not completely accurate, because we've submitted numerous applications, requests for a proximity waiver prior to that date. We haven't gotten anything yet, and it's unfortunate. We waited for the past few meetings. We had anticipated that this meeting there would be exemption waivers that would be issued. Obviously, there's stuff going on, behind the scenes. We're hoping to see those soon. Finally, and most importantly, New York Canna is a registered organization that has been shifted hands numerous times unscrupulously. It is an illegally transferred license. Right now, it's going into the hands of Canopy Growth, one of the largest failures of the cannabis industry in the universe. And they're about to come into New York and take over a license and start playing the game of adult use, even though the license is not in their hands properly. It was never properly transferred. We're engaged in a lawsuit that's ongoing since 2018. The OCM has been on notice that this license was fraudulently transferred. The people that applied for, imagine if I would just come in here and say, yeah, that person's license, that's my license. And I just submit paperwork and you give it to me. That's exactly what happened. That's crazy, right? So I think that for medical safety, for patient safety, we're talking about a medical license here. We have to worry about patient health. We should look into this. There should be some sort of investigation. It shouldn't just be David Fader fighting this in the court. This OCM should be doing something in terms of the regulatory oversight and say, hey, wait a minute. This license never should have been in Acreage's hands, and they shouldn't have been able to transfer it to Canopy. And that's it. I think you guys are great people, and I hope you continue doing good work. And I hope everybody here gets a license, and we make a lot of money together. God bless America.
David, followed by Cos, followed by Matthew Robinson.
Good afternoon. My name is David Hooper, owner of Munchie's Dispensary in Far Rockaway, Queens. Many of you may know me from other meetings speaking about delays we were going through. I felt it was only right to come back and update you. We had our soft opening in Queens November 4th and our grand opening November 23rd. Between the feedback from the community and the opportunity to offer jobs to people that came from the same community that I came from, makes the delays, the fight, all feel worth it. I'd like to thank the board again and the OCM staff again for continuing to keep social equity at the forefront. I hope that continues even as these lawsuits and the power that be try to derail that. And to my fellow CAR members still waiting, hold on, be strong.
Haas, followed by Matthew Robinson, then Harris Reskin.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I really appreciate it. I appreciate Evelyn for making everybody think that I'm rich. You know, everybody thinks I'm making $800,000 a month and pocketing that in my pocket. I haven't got my first check, which I'm about to, but it's okay, you know, because people don't understand the system. So we saw the system, the history books have already been written. In other states, we've seen what happens. When bigwigs come in, they demolish us. Do we want to be demolished? Do we want to fight? Do we want to fight together? We want to fight together? December, right? I got my, you deserve a license. You deserve a license. You deserve a license. And I swear to God, you deserve a license. But, you know, we have to wait because this is what the system is. And this is the reality of the system. And we have to face it. It's going to come. The system is working. I'm a proof that it's working. Jeremy's a proof. Matt is over here as a proof. It is working, and I appreciate it working. I'm not trying to block December blocks. I'm not trying to block anybody trying to get a license right now. I'm trying to bring awareness. When we bring Pure Leaf 600 feet from Vanessa, saying they're coming in for medical, next step. Now they're taking you to court, transfer this license into a rec license. Now they selling $100 ounces when we get $90 ounces. What's my profit margin gonna be? It's gonna make no sense. No sense to be in this thing. The system is working. Don't allow Big Pharma to come in here and demolish us. Don't do it. And that's what I gotta say.
Matthew Robinson, Harris Peskin, and then Max Freed. Matthew?
Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Robinson. I'm an open and operating licensed dispensary owner in upstate New York in Albany. And I want to go through a couple things. The December queue, I mean, you guys are working on that at the OCM, and you guys are doing a great job. The December queue just has to be patient because the OCM is going to give licenses to the December queue. They have to. That is where all the CDI is. All the low-income people that need this, that have fought years and years and years for this, that have went to jail for this, been beat for this, abused, they are in the December queue. We cannot close the door on them. They have to get licenses, but they also have to be patient. It takes time. I was blessed to be in the first group, the first 36 or 37 to get licensed. So I was blessed. But you guys are going to get blessed too. It's important. The brothers over here, the sister over here, you got to license the December queue. At the same time, we have to pace ourselves like Kyle said. Kyle is 100% correct. It's a pacing thing. I also want to go over the proximity protection with the ROs. Now, right now, it's not affecting me at all, but it affects Vanessa and the other gentleman that was up here. It affects Kyle and other people. Giving them proximity protection waivers is insane. You tell me they get to sell it lower and they get to take off the tax on it? Well, we got to keep forcing and selling it at a high price. We got to sell ounces 250, 200, but they get to sell them for 120, 100, and they get to go right next door to us? It doesn't make sense. You can't approve Big Pharma coming in and trying to shut us down. We are stronger than that. This is New York. This isn't Cali or any other state. This is New York. And we fight here. We want ours. We want everything that's owed to us. We want that. And I appreciate the OCM. You guys all know I'm very thankful. I'm sometimes get emotional, But I appreciate you guys. You guys are working hard. I know it. I talk to you consistently. I send emails and talk and have discussions. You guys are working hard. The OCM is working hard, December Q. They're going to get you in.
Matthew.
But thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Harris, followed by Max Fried, then David Neponsky.
My name is Harris Peskin. I'm a partner over at ESG Law. I represent several licensees and applicants. One particular applicant asked me to come here today, Bake Daily LLC. We submitted our micro business application on November 17th, 2023, 0000622. My client had secured and held their location in anticipation of being granted a license for probably over a year at that point. After receiving a notice of deficiency in early 2024, February, and we quickly responded within the 30-day requirement, we've not heard anything from the OCM since February 2024. Because of the financial costs associated with holding that space, we've since had to get rid of it. We're no longer able to do it. We've probably expended somewhere to the tunes of $50,000. We were told by mass email that if we lost access to our space, we'd be offered a provisional license. We've since notified the OCM of that loss, and we've not heard anything back. That was sometime in September. We've been trying to call every single week. We've been sending emails. It's gone completely blank, and we've not heard a single thing back from you guys. I sincerely appreciate what you guys do on behalf of my other licensees, but at the same time, we need some sort of an answer. There's financial money tied up in this, and we just haven't heard anything. We need to know whether we're going to be granted provisional, and we need to be able to tell our members of our company what they should be doing with their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Max Fried, David, followed by Vito Unberg or Unenberg. Max Fried.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Fried. There's not enough time, but details and some policy proposals would be in my comments. This is all about the advisory board letter on its way to you, which is advocating license caps and a supply side licensing moratorium. To be frank, OCM seems to be unhappy that this board wisely rejected their attempt to set policy from below and wag the dog into imposing license quotas. Now OCM's enlisted the advisory board, which has blatant conflicts of interest. Not only did active supply licensees not recuse themselves or abstain, they were specifically praised as sources of wisdom on the question of whether they should have to face real competition. If you're an applicant who feels like you've been treated unfairly, please get in touch with me. Take a card, email me at zuuld@gmail, ZUULD@gmail. I want to hear about your problems. Maybe speaking together might be a little more effective. Now, by standing in the way of supply licensing, OCM and this board would be making themselves responsible for the inevitable fires, explosions, injuries, and deaths from back alley butane extraction in our communities. When someone is killed in an explosion, do you want to be able to say you did everything you could to support safe processing, or will you have to justify standing in the way? Processing plays a keystone role in this market. It doesn't matter how much flower is grown or how many stores are open if you don't have the processors to package and label. Never mind formulating the products people want. Expecting 150 tier one processors to supply a $6 billion market by 2030 is expecting every one of those licensees to grow to a minimum of $10 million a year in revenue per year in as little as 3 years, starting from zero. Everyone that fails to do that increases the burden on the others. That's the plan for beating the illicit market. It's outrageous for regulation to mandate micro businesses cultivate the vast majority of their own flower and then kill much of the micro queue because they would grow too much flower. It's shocking to hear the phrase, what the market will bear, credulously used by regulators. That phrase means extracting the most cash from the customers as possible. They deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. David, followed by Vito, then Walter.
Good afternoon, board members and OCM staff. I'm David Neponsky, Bronx retail licensee and NICRA board member. First, don't destroy the value of licenses. If careful market analysis shows the market can support December Q applicants, then they should be licensed over time, obviously. That's not my main point. The industry is actually facing a crisis that isn't being acknowledged, let alone addressed. As reported in OCM Policy Director John Kagia's December presentation to the board, 60%, more than half of retailers are on track for an annualized run rate of $1 million or less. That is, to be unprofitable, many by a shockingly wide margin. Retailers face an uphill and unfair battle competing with the still thriving illegal retail market, and they must do so with one metaphorical hand tied behind their backs, unable to access most typical methods of retail advertising to reach potential customers. Despite these growing figures, months have passed since the public comment period of the proposed PMLA reg changes has closed, yet they still haven't been adopted. Inability to advertise strangles growth prospects and jeopardizes retailer financial stability. Meanwhile, the board's activity over recent meetings, such as rapidly approving proximity protection waivers, has caused widespread distress amongst licensees, threatening license values, and not only opening the door to, but practically begging for additional litigation. In summary, strong no to rapid proximity PCA waivers without a thorough, public, transparent, and legally sound review process that defaults to denial but allows success in rare and necessary cases. Strong yes to adopting the pending changes to the PMLA regulations, giving retailers the tools and opportunity they need to compete successfully and reach their potential customers. I urge the board to prioritize actions that will benefit the public and that support our existing licensees and future licensees. The licensee community has made their needs and priorities clear. It's time for the board to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Followed Vito, then Walter, then Starlin Joseph. So Vito.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Vito Uniberg. I spoke back here a couple months back. Back again. I am part of the November queue. So this is how my thing has been breaking down. In March 7th, I received an email from the AUL stating that my location proximity was not part of the proximity that was allowed, and because I was with Hempstead Village, and that Hempstead Village opted out of allowing adult use dispensaries in the village, and they gave me a couple days to fix it. So by March 14th, I resubmitted a new lease, notarized, signed, with a $35,000 down payment, and at $10,000 a month, I started paying. And April 1st, I received notification from the board that my lease was put with the correct team. I believe it was around June we started going over the deficiencies with somebody that goes by the name of Ed with the AUL workers. July 1st, I received an email from him saying, I'm reaching out to you because when you submitted your corrections, you provided us a new location. The way this process works, you need to submit with your original lease for 9 Main Street in Hempstead. If you can please provide the lease that as well as the other deficiencies, you'll be eligible for a provisional license. After being awarded the provisional license, you'll be then permitted to change your location. Okay. All the deficiencies have been taken care of. So now I have 2 leases. It's December now. Comes and I received an email stating that the Supreme Court issued an order to stop provisional license processing because of some sort of lawsuit that was going on. So now I spent over $130,000 of my money continuing to pay for a lease that I should have an operational license status, not a provisional license status, because I submitted all the correct paperwork that was asked of me. And during the process, after I submitted all the correct paperwork, one of the workers had sent me that email, and I still have the email saved, that he's reaching out that I need to submit the corrections with the old address provided. I'm doing everything I could, and I'm standing here with my hands tied. I really need help. I mean, it's costing me a fortune.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Walter, followed by Starlin Joseph, then Marquez.
Good afternoon. My name is Walter Ivacu. We've Justice 3. I came here to find out more about the injunction, so I'm anxiously awaiting the response. Thank the board, the community, and the staff and all their hard work. And let's move forward. Thank you.
Starlin, followed by Mark Hayes, then Shlomo Weinstock.
Hey, hello, board and cannabis community. I'm Starlin Joseph. I'm founder of Loudest LLC. Doing business as High Dankery. And I'm here to get clarification on what's going on with this conditional retail dispensary. With my my card license application. My license application number is OCM CAURDP 2024000134. And I originally submitted my application in 2022 as the original applications in September. And the original application number is OCUMCUARD 2022-00292. I have yet to I've submitted it since September 22, and I have yet to been assigned an examiner
and examiner till this day, and the process is now extended to nearly 3 years. Given the recent court injunction changes to the car license process, I'm seeking clarification on whether my application has been affected. Specifically, I would like to know the current status of my application, whether the recent court ruling updates has impacted the eligibility or timeline, since I'm an original applicant from September 22. Then I would like to also express that I am one of the first applicants from back in September 2022. And due to the OCM not correctly processing my application and prior injunction, I was held back. And finally, I received my provisional approval in June 2024. And as of right now, I've already made significant financial investments towards opening this dispensary, including securing and paying monthly rent for a commercial property. I've already received proximity protection and this ongoing expense, along with other substantial commitments such as insurance, workers' comps, and et cetera. But I'm just trying to say, like, I applied in 2022 and I don't know what's going on. It's been 3 years now.
So we've got your information, and someone from the office should be reaching out to you.
I've emailed, I call, I don't get no answers. And it's like, it's been since 2022. I should not be here today.
So we have to respect the 2 minutes, but I'm gonna say before you leave this room,
Yeah.
please come back to the table.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much for having me.
Marquez, Shlomo, and then something Ellington. I'm sorry, I can't read that. SC maybe? EC, please, sir.
Good afternoon, Chair. Thank you, CCB and the OCM. I'm Marquez, also known as Chef Mark. I am the proud owner of Brown Butter New York, located in Southampton, New York. Quick, brief summarization of what I appreciate you guys doing and allowing us to be able to do as legacy New York natives. Born and raised in the Bronx. Grandmother sold weed, uncle sold weed, taught me how to sell weed at 13. They're currently dead. I chose to use the wellness aspect of marijuana, which suppresses my PTSD and my anxiety of a confusion that I experience every day as a Black man, to escape utilizing weed. I spent 7 years in prison for selling weed, turned my cell into a restaurant, came home, and now I teach formerly incarcerated individuals the soft skills of hospitality upon reentry into society. I also have the opportunity to teach them that the latest vegetable, which is cannabis, can go into this infusion of education. I am currently not allowed to utilize my license in Southampton because the town is not corresponding with the state and stating that I have an illegal license and I cannot commence deliveries while I sit on $40,000 worth of product and pay $21,000 worth of rent for the last 13 months. I went to prison, I served my time, I've been reprimanded, and was very, very reluctant to go about pursuing this license in order to get a wave shock of PTSD again, because I'm like, what am I doing? Am I doing it wrong? Am I doing it right? I've done everything that was supposed to do. This is not supposed to be the end result. I only ask today that there be more support from the OCM and the CCB. You guys are doing an amazing job, but there are things out here that we don't have the answers to, and we have a lot of confusion on how to continue to combat. Thank you.
Thank you. Shlomo?
Hi, just checking in. I want to shout out the women actually controlling and running cannabis in New York. So shout out. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Take care.
Thank you. I think we have someone, Ellington, might be AC?
It's key, but.
That's key, sorry, all right.
Handwriting.
We're gonna finish up, and then they're followed by Lara Rasmussen. Laura Rasmussen, that name sounds really familiar. Please.
Hello, my name is Ellington Keys. I'm an applicant in the December queue. I attended my first OCM meeting in March 2024, where my hair wasn't much longer than board member John Caggier's. My hair is a visual representation of how long I've been waiting. This was in June, so shortly after March.
I feel like there's an invisible barrier between the licensed applicants and the OCM, as I have as much information as to when I may receive my license as I did in December 2023, when I submitted my application. Today, I hope to bring down the invisible barrier between us. We all come from very different backgrounds, yet at the core, we're all very much the same, and want the same things. For example, you, like myself, want to be able to take care and provide for your families. You want your family and loved ones to be happy and healthy. You want to be successful at your careers and professions. You, like myself, want to be recognized for the hard work you do. With these core similarities, I hope that I can endure myself to the board today. I'm one of the most qualified applicants the OCM will come across. I check every requirement for a license and more. I'm a minority, have a cannabis conviction, built a delivery service on the legacy market that was better than anything that is available on the legal market. Owned and operated multiple successful businesses, including nightclubs and restaurants in the Meatpacking District and the Hamptons. I have a cannabis retail specialist certification from BMCC, created a marketing deck, interior design concepts for our store, engaged architects and contractors to do renovations, gained employment at 3 of the best licensed cannabis retail stores in the city where I'm currently a bud tender. I hope I don't have to wait another 13 months for my license, but if I do, my hair will be much longer, which will make for a funny picture when I finally do receive my license. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Laura.
Melosho. Thank you, board member, Ms. Knight and Chair, Ms. Wright, and the board members for doing this today. I was reached out for the process of my license to 2003, 1865, and was asked to provide the fingerprinting a month ago, which was completed. However, since then, I've been contacting them every single day, calling the hotline, absolutely no correspondence except a default response. This license is beyond me. The town supervisor, the town I'm applying in, and the business owners are all excited about the license because I will be revitalizing the town. It's a small town and will be creating jobs and help other businesses. It will provide a vitality and prosperity for this town. We can definitely use your help and greatly appreciate the offer.
Thank you.
Help.
So that was the last of our comments today. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's taken time to come in and to speak with us and to present their concerns and to share their concerns publicly. Please note that the time, the location, and a live stream link will be shared on our website, cannabis.ny.gov, in advance of our next control board meeting. There will be a recording of today's meeting, the meeting minutes, and a transcription of today's meeting posted as well. So that concludes our business for today. And may I please have a motion to adjourn this meeting? May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, comments from board members? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's unanimous. The motion carries. Thank you for joining us today, and this meeting is now adjourned.